this is going to remotely work. But I said I thought I'd try to do a quick Q&A while I'm down here on like a mini kind of vacation. Um, I doubt there'll be many people that get on here and go live because it's 5 o'clock on Friday afternoon. People are probably still working and stuff. But this is something I probably need to do kind of more of, so people can, so we can just talk as a community and just have an open conversation about things that are going on. I'm down here in Palm Beach Gardens. It says that rain's going to rain in 15 minutes, which doesn't make any sense because there's no rain clouds anywhere. But I'm down here with my family. I come down here every year and I try to go fishing for 4 straight days. I don't really. I used to, there used to be a time where I filmed every time I went fishing, and then those videos just don't. They just don't do really well. Um, so it's one of those things that I just don't. I don't film anymore when I go fishing, and it's kind of. I hate to say that. Oh, thank you for that. Yeah, nice hat. This is actually a brand new hat. I have a bunch of them that I said I was going to sell, but I feel guilty trying to sell something. To be honest, um, I don't know why. I just feel like it's if I'm trying to sell merch, I feel bad. I don't know why, but it's just something. But I come down here for 4 days, 5 days, and we eat and I cook a lot, and there's so many really great places to fish down here because I can go bass fishing, and then I can go snook fishing, and then I can go peacock bass fishing. I can do all these things that I don't get to do when I'm in Orlando. And if you don't know, I'm just north of Orlando in Apopka. So when I get down here, it allows me to do a bunch of different styles of fishing that I really like to do. Um, and yeah, Daryl, uh, I don't want to, you can have a hat, Daryl. Uh, so, so I don't have a video coming out today. I usually have one a day, and just, I thought that, not that I don't have one planned for Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday next week, but I just felt like this was, I want the community to just know as you guys want to know about me, where I'm from, what what my, you know, just so everyone's more involved. I guess that's the best way to put it. So if you're on here, and oh, happy Thanksgiving. Thank you, Doug. Uh, if you have a question and you're on here and you just want me to be frank and honest, there's probably questions you guys could ask that might get me in trouble. And if they get me in trouble, I probably won't answer it. But I'll be as honest as possible. Bradley, yes, great Thanksgiving. Luckily, we ate as much as we could last night. And I'm only saying this because I'm at my cousin's house, Julie's. I'm really happy that we don't have turkey for a second day. I don't want to be mean, but I don't like I don't eat leftovers. I don't eat any leftovers. So they went lobstering in mini season, and you guys don't know this. I don't eat fish. Uh, I had a dad that just butchered fish when I was growing up, so fish doesn't taste good to me anymore. Sometimes it does taste good, but generally I try to stay away fish. But they went hog hunting and deer hunting and lobstering recently, so we're gonna have like a plethora of different kinds of lobster tails, all that stuff tonight. We're making homemade pizza, homemade pasta tonight, and then tomorrow night. I also don't drink, so people don't know that. Uh, so tomorrow night, my wife and my cousin and her husband are going to a wine tasting. Hey, Brian. And so while they go wine tasting, I'm going to make my son and my cousin and, hey, kick your ass, and Michael, I'm going to make pizzas on the egg over there. At one point in time, I had a green egg sponsorship, so I was lucky enough to get a few. I guess that's the best way to put it. So they got one of them because it didn't make sense for me to have 3 green eggs. Makes no sense. So, you know, we're just trying to eat well. We're trying to have fun and just be with family right now. We've come down here 10 or 12 or years in a row. My cousin has a son named Alessandro, and Alessandro and my son Thomas are. My son Thomas thinks Ali is the greatest person on earth. So when they get down here, they're constantly hanging out and doing stuff. So really, what ends up happening is my wife goes with my cousin, and then I'm like a free man for 3 or 4 days where I can go fishing and do all sorts of stuff, and learn how to become a better fisherman while I'm down here. I will say I don't have a lot of luck. I haven't had a lot of luck until the last couple years where I've really focused on where I'm going to go, how I'm going to fish, and the lures that I'm going to fish, which is a little odd because when I'm up at home or I'm at home in a pop cup, I go to the frog pond. In the frog pond, I know for a fact that if I throw a Nico rigged worm or a frog or a fluke, I can catch a fish fairly consistently. And the frog pond is really, you probably hear me mention it. The frog pond is pretty much completely private to me. I have a buddy that owns it. We've tried to stock the fish and maintain the fish and do what we can, and then they've enlarged the pond too, and it doesn't have any big fish in it right now, but it has a lot of like cookie cutter fish, I guess is the best way to say it. Maybe that 12 to 14-inch fish. So it's a good opportunity for me to right now to just ride the electric bike over there, fish for a little bit, and then just have a good time. And really, my fishing nowadays isn't like I was saying, it isn't for doing videos anymore, which is really great. Steve, do I target exotic sometimes? I do. I will when I'm down here right now. The biggest the fishing I want to do the most is peacock bass fishing. I don't really go over cichlids, even though I do catch them. There is a place here about, so I'm in West Palm Beach Gardens. So if you go up one exit, we're at Jupiter, and if I go down a couple exits, I start getting into Fort Lauderdale in that area. Now, if I go down a couple exits from where I'm at now, there is a place to go that's behind this church, and they call it Peacock Bass Alley, and it's phenomenal fishing. However, it's very overfished. So if you've never been down to Florida, once you get past Fort Lauderdale-ish, all the canals pretty much have peacock bass. They introduced the peacock bass years and years ago to try to, I don't know if it was to make the sport fishing better, but it just to increase everything. So I do that. I'm going to answer this question. Do you think most of the OGs at Bass will end up at NPFL due to that forward-facing sonar? I think there'll be a lot of older anglers that go to NPFL. I think right now the best thing that's happened to NPFL is the no entry fees for bass, because those anglers can now take that money that they were going to spend at the elites and then jump into the NPFL. The problem NPFL has, and you can see there's the pool behind me, guys, and that's a state park behind me, so nothing can go behind. The problem with NPFL has right now is their platform it's horrible. They need to decide what they're going to do and how they're going to do it. I don't know if we'll see a ton of OG anglers go to it, because you still have to say, the anglers need to say, how are they going to promote me on NPFL? What Patrick Walters has done is he's used it as an extra place to win a lot of money, like 400 grand. And because of that, he's shown the way that it is. And I'm not trying to take any shots at any NPFL anglers, because I have a couple really close friends that fish in NPFL. But a lot of the guys in the NPFL would love to be a professional angler, but probably couldn't qualify for the elites or the invitationals or the BPT. So they're using this to stroke the fire, I guess the best way to put it, and keep the dream alive of becoming a pro angler. Zach Burge had a comment on their Facebook page saying, some people were, to be quite honest, they were giving him shit. And Zach Burge put a comment on Facebook on their private, NPFL Facebook page saying, hey, you guys, if you guys want to talk about the crap about me, then just step up and try to qualify for the elites or the BPT or any of that stuff. You guys won't make it. I wish you the best luck, but you won't make it. And that's really a little bit of a hindrance for NPFL. NPFL has a great group of core people that are very solid, honest, maybe a little bit harsh at times, um, but they know they're not gonna. They're just shooting it straight at you. And I'm not sure that some of that doesn't come back to hurt them at some point in time. I think NPFL has to keep the momentum that they have. I find it a little weird that they're struggling right now to get anglers, to be honest. I find that a little weird because uh, I'm just going to keep it real honest. They shouldn't be. They should not be struggling. Um, the fishing tournament world is probably the craziest that I've seen it in 10 or 12 or 14 years. I thought the split was really bad, but I'm really kind of I'm right now. I think where tournament fishing is probably the worst I've seen it in 15 or 16 years. Doug, their entry fee isn't the highest. With bass now being, and by the way, thank you, Doug, for asking the questions. I really do appreciate it because I don't know what to talk about right now. So if anyone has questions, just ask it. Um, and I hate saying NPFL is the second highest right now. No entries for bass, $5,000 for NPFL, and I want to say the BPT is 64.27 something. It's over $6,400. You have to remember though that the BPT has two events, the heavy hitters and their red crest, where they're still paying out the highest there is. And they have the team trail that are no entry fees. So the team trail, red crest if you qualify, and heavy hitters if you qualify. There are three tournaments that you're gonna make. It's free money and a lot of money. The payouts are drastically different. Um, where the classic is a free tournament for the elites, but the whole year is free too. But the payouts are horrible. In the NPFL, they pay 5,000 a tournament. They only have 6 tournaments, and they have a championship. And I don't think the championship is. I think it's a free entry for the championship too. So I haven't made a video about this because it's something that I want to at some point in time. We're going to really see a drastic difference in the payouts this year. And I know there's a lot of people that don't like the MLF and the BPT. I understand it because we're very loyal. But if you look at it from a standpoint of where the anglers are and what they're going to make, the BPT is really, really going to be a drastic difference this year than anything. Yeah, payouts are always going to be an issue. Um, they're never going to be enough. And I think this is the first year, 2025 will be the first year where a lot of anglers from the BPT are not going to complain. The BPT anglers that I talk to on a consistent basis are really, really happy with where Major League Fishing is going. The shrunken field, the payouts increasing, the heavy hitters, the red crest, and the team trail. The team trail has been absolutely ridiculous for them. Michael Bradley asked, Steve, have you heard from Mr. Bass? Hope he's doing well. Miss his lives. We texted yesterday, just happy Thanksgiving. I talk to Mr. Bass probably once every 4 to 6 to 7 weeks. We do stay in contact pretty much. I think that my time with him has been one of the most fun times I had on doing this channel. And I learned a lot from him, and he and I still keep in a lot of touch. I don't know if he'll ever do videos. I don't know if, and I'm just speaking for myself when I say this. There are times you go through really crazy lulls or wondering if this is what you should be doing when you do your content. You're a content creator, and you hit a lot of walls. There's a lot of people. There's so much competition on here that a lot of people like to take their shots at you, and it really becomes old and hurts at times. So it's really it's hard to deal with at times, to be completely honest. Hot take: BPT will be the top trail in 3 years. Could possibly be. I think there's so much drama in the elites this year, and quite honestly, we're going to see the same amount next year. Because while there's anglers that are very happy with the no entry fees, at some point in time they're going to look at, well, it does help. It does help a lot of those bottom anglers, but those top anglers are going to make a lot less money than any time they've ever made it. And when you get into the area of those top elite anglers, they, while, while I'm one of the biggest person that say no pay to play, those anglers don't mind paying to play because their sponsorships are so high and the money that they're making outside of being a fishing guide is they're making hundreds of thousands of dollars. Some of them make millions. But to take that away and now to make a quarter, whatever it's going to end up being, is going to be really tough for them. It's going to be tough. Team is the next out there. I think the team series for Major League Fishing, Doug, is the best I've seen in a long time. I really do. I think it's fun to watch. I like the camaraderie. I'm going to be honest. John Murray is one of my favorite people in the world. John was so happy to be with Skeet. It was stupid. I'm not joking. And Skeet was unbelievably happy too because those guys are partners and they travel together and they're best friends. We had a dinner one time, the three of us, years ago. I think it was at ICAST. No, it was on when Major League Fishing came down here, and they had a great time at dinner. We went to the boathouse. We got a whole bunch of stuff that wasn't on the menu. We ate like kings. Those two guys drank like kings, and I mean drank like kings. And we had one of the best nights, one of the best fun nights I've ever had. And it was great to watch the two of those guys bust each other's chops, and of course throwing me under the bus at the same time. But I think the team trails. To be quite honest, I wish the elites would do a team trail or use the format that maybe not use the same format, but do the team trails like MLF has done because I think BPT has skyrocketed in terms of viewership and what they've done right this year. And I know everyone tells me, I've been told a million times that I am the MLF person. I understand that at times. Keeping it real, the thing about MLF is that I know those guys better. That's what it comes down to. And you people might not know this, but uh, I can text, I can honestly text Boyd right now and probably get a response within 10 minutes. And when you have that relationship that you've built over years and years and years, sorry, I got a scratch, that you have that relationship that you can talk to him and ask questions that I want answers for or you guys want answers for, then that really helps. A little Blue Outdoors, how are you? The classic has been a saver for bass, but I think the classic is losing its value. Do you think it's lost its value and will it hurt bass overall? The classic is maybe it's went down a little bit. I think where they go is how important the classic is. If you look at the overall monetary income that comes into the place where they go, the classic probably on I'm just averaging in the last 5 years probably averages about $35 million to the host city. I don't think it's dropped at all. I will say this year's numbers for the classic, watching it online on FS1, were horrible in my opinion. I know they say it was the best ever, but if you look up FS1 Bassmaster Classic and look up the Nielsen ratings, the numbers don't match at all. But Bass has always done this. For years, we've always known whatever numbers Bass comes out, we kind of always, I'm not trying to throw shade, but we always went, that probably isn't right. But, it's really, I'm not here to pick a fight with anyone at Bass. I think, LeBlue, Bass has to make some decisions. Um, I'm going to say something that I hope I don't regret. I don't know if I can say it. There's been offers for people to purchase bass in the last 6 months. There are organizations and people that have wanted to come in and purchase bass to take them to the next level, or to use bass as a platform to continue and merge other things. And there's some ownership that has bass now that won't sell it. And I'm not saying they're making a mistake, but they probably are making a mistake. And this isn't Chase or anybody like that. There are shareholders that just, they overvalue what bass is right now. And I think at some point in time, for this industry to continue to improve and to get better, I've said it, MLF and Bass, they must merge. I know that doesn't make people happy, but at some point we do need to see a merge. And I don't know if it's Bass and NPFL, or if it's Bass and MLF, or it's MLF and NPFL, whatever it is. We need to have one solid brand, because when Bass and FLW were going after each other, Bass was the king. FLW had great anglers and great people and was doing fantastic. Horrible business for them because they were millions in the hole. But when there wasn't the competition between MLF and Bass, then if those two could merge, it would be the best way to say this. If those two could merge, it would be incredible. And when MLF started and the BPT started, that ownership group with MLF made 3 offers to purchase Bass, but it either wasn't right, or they were pissed off, or they just, as I see it, overvalued what Bass is. And I think the Classic, I mean, I've said it a million times. If you've never been to Classic, the Classic's the greatest fishing tournament to go to. It is so absolutely incredible. The fan experience, even from a media standpoint. If you want to go and you want to be, if I go to Lake Fork and you're in Lake Fork and you want to see the media experience, just email me and I'll ask for an extra badge for you. I mean, I might have to make you work a little bit, but I mean, if Working's asking anglers questions for me to post, then it can't be the worst thing. But Bass is the Classic is the Classic. It's I don't know. I think it's lost a little bit of value, but it's still the best, I think. I don't know if that answers your question, dude. And I apologize if I rambled on it, but it's the best, just to keep it straight. It really is the best. So, okay. I know this week we're gonna have a video just talking about me, which probably will get no views, but I've had people ask, where's my background from? Why am I this moron on YouTube? Why am I this big-headed idiot? As I would call Tony, sorry. Big-headed idiot on YouTube. So there's a video on that. I think there's a over or underrated video. There is a video that I thought would be funny, and I'm not sure if it's funny, about why people don't like bananas on the boat. And I did a bunch of research on it. And then I think there's something else. I don't even know. There might be something about, I don't even know what the other one video is about. I'd have to look. And if I look, I probably would get kicked off here. So does anyone have any other questions? I mean, you can ask me anything right now. I might give you the house. I don't know. There's a dog yiping. We actually I don't know if you can see. So let's see. I'm going to pan over here. See our blind right there? We put a blind up because we've had some coyotes right here. So my son has been taking shooting lessons all day, thinking that he is going to sit out in a blind with a thermo scope and do something. Brian said, do I own a boat? And if so, which one? I used to have a Hells Bay Waterman. It was a flats boat I had for years. And I sold it so that I could my wife and I could do in vitro for and have Thomas. That's probably never been told on here. So I gotta. So for years after I left, I used to work at AAA. Yeah, I missed the radio show too, Stephen. I used to work at AAA, and then I started working doing websites. This is gonna be on this video that's coming up. And then when I had like 200 or 300 websites, but I was doing videos or stuff like this for um, are the coyotes smaller in the? Yeah, they're small. They're small, Michael. And I got a free boat from about 60,000 boat from $60,000 boat from. It was a Hell's Bay Waterman. It's a flats boat, and I used to do everything to. I used to fish in that. I used to take. I used to volunteer and do teen sport fishing every couple weeks and take a kid fishing in that. And my goal was when I took the kid fishing that all the fishing gear that was in the boat, including the rods and reels, I gave to the kid that was on my boat because I felt like that might keep him interested, and I'd let him not drive the boat, but he would be in charge of the trolling motor and stuff. And I just felt like it was a way to keep people in. I have a little dinghy boat right now that's a little plastic thing with a trolling motor that I take out in the frog pond if I want, but I really don't do it that much. Um, Next, the catch fish crew. Do you have any fishing superstitions? I am not a superstitious person. I don't know why. The banana thing didn't bother me at all. Hello, hey, north of the border, Stephen. One of the best guys that makes comments. Steve, you kill me with the comments. Steven, you kill me with the comments. So I don't have any fishing superstitions. It's really funny. I've talked to anglers about it in the past when I've been at the Classic, and some of their superstitions are crazy, like ridiculous. One guy was like, "We don't eat chicken. I don't eat chicken the week of the fishing tournaments." It's just, it's ridiculous. Still frog fishing with a spinning rod. I Sometimes I use a bait caster, sometimes I use a spinning rod. I will say I'm using a spinning rod more now to go frog fishing only because I've been going on the bike, the electric bike, to the frog pond. And my bait caster gets caught in the spokes. And I'm scared I'm gonna destroy something. So I don't bring it. That's the only reason I don't use it. I actually have more bait casting rods right now than I have spinning rods, which is crazy for me to think of. And a lot of people give me grief over the spinning rods, but if you're a saltwater fisherman, you don't use bait casters. What's up, Ron Bait? My largest bass is 1427. I would starve to death with all those superstitions. I was getting gas. Did you say the Classic is at Lake Fork? I think the Classic is at Lake Fork, Doug. I think so. And my largest bass is 1427, and there's really a great story behind that fish. I started. I had this idea before I started doing get this thing everything, and of course I got booties and frogs. I would. I actually Brown Bait. Didn't you go to the frog pond with me? Am I wrong, Brendan? Did I go to the frog? Didn't you come to the frog pond with me? I'm not even sure. I'm getting old. So 1427, let me get back to that. So I worked for the Villages for 2 years. I was a graphic designer, and when I would go to the Villages, I had this idea of doing a series of videos called The Quest for a 10. And so what I did was, when I knew, like, down here in West Palm Beach, Okeechobee's probably really close to being on a spawn. Really close to spawn. And so I knew that depending on the water quality, that sometime in January, early February, in that range, I would see a spawning fish. And I knew that I need to look for beds and that kind of stuff. So during my lunch hour, when I worked for the Villages newspaper and did a million graphics for them, that I would go out for lunch, I would grab, this is way too much information, I'd grab an Arby's sandwich and a fry and a soda, and I'd rush back to a pond and start fishing it. And I would walk around the pond and try to find where the beds were. And it was probably, and I was going to different places because I thought, well, I'm going to backtrack. When I start doing videos, I'm trying to look forward at what I really need to do to capture everything. So I started looking at where I wanted to go and how I wanted to fish and where I was going to set up the camera so that I wouldn't miss anything. So during the month of December, in the start of January, I kept seeing this bass spawning, or not spawning, but a male fanning its tail at the end of this tree that was just happened to be in the water. So I watched this bass, this buck bass, for probably 2 weeks. And I thought, if a fish shows up on that, I'm gold. So then out of nowhere, probably it was probably on January 17th or 18th, this giant bass, which I thought was about 7 to 10 in that range, started pushing up on this area under this tree. But every time I walked down the bank, I would my fat ass would spook this bass and it would dart off. And I kept thinking, how can I do this? How can I do it? How can I do it? And it wasn't that, and the fish just seemed to be getting bigger and bigger every 2 days. It looked like a different fish when I caught it, to be honest. It might not have been the same fish. So I went down there and fished for this bass probably 5 or 6 straight days during my lunch. I only had an hour lunch or 45 minutes, whatever it was. Never could get a bait remotely near it. I mean, casting at the top and casting with a bait caster, flipping it 30, 40 feet, no luck. Hung up in the tree. I made every mistake you can ever imagine. So then I thought, I'll walk completely around the whole pond and come from the fish on the other side where her tail was. Because I was walking down and she was seeing me because we were like facing each other. And on that day was the only day that I didn't put a camera up, because I felt like by the time I walked all the way around the pond, it was going to be 30, 35 minutes. And then casting at it, I probably would spook it and it wouldn't work out. And I happened to flip one bait, beaver bait, reaction innovation bait, and landed. And are you going in the blind? Landed it on its nose, twitched it once, 14.27. Biggest fish I've caught. Not the biggest, that's the biggest bass I've caught. I've caught a couple 155-pound tarpon on 7-weight fly rod. I've caught probably my best fish, the fish I remember the most is I caught a 26.5-inch rainbow trout on a 4-weight fly rod in Upper Georgia, and it was probably the fish I remember the most. My best fishing story is I fished Yellowstone and caught 77 trout in 2.5 hours on fly rod, on the 3-weight fly rod. And that was probably, I've had a couple exceptional days. The tarpon day, I've went bone fishing and had some really exceptional days bone fishing on fly. I've done some deep sea fishing. I really don't do any deep sea fishing anymore, only because I have ADHD, and I have OCD with my hands. I mean, I think Brennan can tell you, I don't shake people's hands. I just have a hand issue. So there were a lot of times when I was doing those mystery tackle boxes and opening boxes that people would send me hand sanitizer, and I get over it sometimes, but sometimes it just controls my brain. But I've had some exceptional. I've fished everywhere. I really do love fishing. I really love fishing, and I love all styles of fishing. I've taken fly fishing lessons from some of. I took 7-8 months of fly fishing lessons from John Cave, who's a master fly fisherman, and he is. It was some of the best time ever. Are you eating the focaccia bread? I'm live, so sorry. Are you sitting in the blind with Thomas? Hey, you got to make sure you got the. Yeah. This is Ali, by the way. It's my nephew. He's gotten really big. Ali's a super hunter and super fisherman. He's been fishing with me for years. So I've had the privilege of fishing a lot of great places and meeting a lot of people. And when we did the radio show, it wasn't just about getting pros in. There were some, like Andy Mill. Andy Mill is a Olympic skier, and was married to a professional tennis player. He lives right over here. And Andy's story is his stories about who he's fished with are some of the best of all time. You and Patrick have got to have some great stories together. I got the pros of fishing with this lake. Yeah, Patrick's one of the best guys in the world. Patrick really is one of the nicest people you can ever meet. He's going through a little bit of rough time, but hopefully he can pull through it. He's still, without a question, one of my closest friends. I look forward to fishing with him. We have a lot of fishing stories. I think the only person I have more fishing stories with, and no, I've probably fished with Patrick more than Ken Duke. Probably pretty close. The thing with Patrick is we've fished in the middle of storms. We've went snook fishing. We've done a lot of saltwater fishing together, and we've done not as much freshwater fishing. The place he lives at has a couple big fish. He has a private, not really private, but a pond behind his house, and he has, without question, there's some 15s in that pond, and it's just a matter of getting out there and doing it. He lives about 2 hours from me, maybe an hour and a half. He lives kind of in the middle of the state. It's a little bit of a hike for me to drive to his house. But Patrick's one of the greatest people I've ever met. I have the utmost respect for Patrick and his old lures when he had them with Sabile, and I have prototypes of Patrick. That was a bat. I have some prototypes of Patrick lures that are I could never get rid of. I actually lost one, and it was probably the most expensive lure I've ever had, and I lost it on the first cast at a tarpon. Hit it, and I wasn't actually trying to catch a fish. I was trying to see what the action of the bait was. It hit the bait. He had made 7 of them, and when it was all said and done, he had 7 of these lures made that didn't end up coming out. But because of the mold fee and the China fee, the lure was about $1,500 as a prototype. And first strike, first cast, giant tarpon, broke my line instantly. And I don't mind saying it now, I didn't have the heart to tell him that I broke it off because I was so stressed out, because I knew he was like, you can't lose this lure. I want to see it in the water. I want to see it underwater. And I brought it here years and years ago. One cast, gone. Big old tarpon. Probably 150 to 180. And it was sad. We also lost. He had a spinnerbait that he was coming out with, and we went and fished one of the lakes in Orlando, the Fab Five, and he was just scraping it off the bottom. And he had made, I want to say, 10 of these spinnerbaits, and they had this little plastic piece on the side so that it would collapse all the way. And as luck would have it, he hooked a big fish, probably 8 in Lake Ivanhoe, and it snapped. And then we got on the radio the next day and we said, anyone fishing Lake Ivanhoe and you catch a bass that has this spinnerbait, and we couldn't really talk about what made it different. He was like, I will give you $500 and $500 worth of lures, because it was that important. And then he was like, I need yours back. And I didn't ever gave it back. I still have it. I've thrown it, but I've never fished it hard. So I've had a lot of great opportunities to fish throughout the country, outside of the country, but also meet and talk to some absolutely insane people that just love fishing like I do, like we all do. So that was probably the best part of the radio show. I missed the radio show for many things. I missed the radio show because of the camaraderie with Boudreaux and Mike. And Mike is still doing amazing with tackle webs, but Boudreaux died. Boudreaux died because of that flesh-eating disease. And I really never went into that story because it still really hurts me. And Boudreaux and I were, when he died, we weren't in a great place as friends. But Boudreaux loved my son more than anything, and to be honest, it hurts still. It really does hurt, and I wish we could have been it isn't that when he died, I was next to him. I was there at his side, and we said our piece. He wasn't speaking at the time, and I said my piece and told him how much I cared about him, and told him that I love him, and he passed away. And it was a horrible way to die because the story just it was horrible to think of what happened, and it it like in most people that die, it changed my life, only because um, he loved Thomas so much, and it 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 hurt us. It really did hurt us, and I think about him every day. And quite honestly, I wouldn't be doing this channel if it weren't for Boudreaux. That's the truth. When I left, I did run one radio show to go meet with him, and it is. And I've never told the story, and I'm sorry I don't tell the story because I should give him credit for where I am right now, and I do give him credit, and I miss him. Hunter asked, "What is my favorite spinning fishing combo?" So I'm a big stickler on. I love the Shimano Vanford reels. I think they're the best reels. I've been a Shimano person for a long time. However, I've used some great castaway rods, um, and I think I like a fast, medium heavy rod. To be brutally honest, I don't like going fishing with heavy gear. On my bait casters, I have 30 pound, 30, 35 pound, 40 pound braid. On my spinning rods, I have 10 to 12. So I oh, I don't use live bait, Stephen. I don't use live bait. If you desperately want to catch a fish, what are you throwing? Yeah, then that makes sense, Michael. If I want to catch a fish, I'm throwing a Nico rigged DOA worm. I know people love those Gamakatsu. I'm not taking a shot at them at all. I have been uh, I've known the owner of DOA lures for as long as I've been in fishing, which is really scary to think. Um, and the DOA owner is one of the best anglers I've ever been out with. Man, I could do a list of who my best anglers are too that I fished with. But I use a Nico rigged weighted front, black and blue, 5-inch Cinco DOA worm, and I order those by every time I order them by I get 250 at a shot because I don't want to go someplace without them. And I'm not again. I think the Gamakatsu, Gary Yamamoto, whatever it is, Gary Yamamoto worm Cinco is unbelievable. But I have that's what I'm using. When I go to a new place, it's one of the lures I have on right away. I usually have some sort of working bait, something that's gonna be bluegill-ish kind of stuff, maybe something a little bit smaller, excuse me. And then I have a Cinco, and I generally have a fluke, and usually uh, some sort of chatterbait. Depends. Blair Wiggins, big DOA guy. Blair Wiggins, one of my another close friend. Blair and Carrie are two amazing people. Yeah, he's part of the team. I actually won the DOA media event several years ago, and I won it by 160 inches, give or take. I mean, nobody caught fish that day, and I caught 198 inches, and I destroyed everybody. I won everything. I felt guilty too, and we all had to use DOA lures, and I was like, nobody's gonna be able to fish them as good as I do. And Blair had to be a guide, and he couldn't fish, so I was like, Blair, guess what? We're gonna win everything today, and we did. I don't get to go to those media events very much anymore. I don't know why. I don't know if maybe I don't qualify for them anymore. I did a lot of media events for the Crappie Masters, and I destroyed those things. And hay burning season, and it was just it was a lot of fun. Fish in a basket. Oh God, don't get me started on that one. Uh, I have a story. No, I can't tell that story. I think fishing. If you're putting fish in a basket, you're just not fishing. That's just me. I mean, I don't mean any disrespect. How do I feel about the elites doing the NPFL? I love it. I think that elites going to. Are you getting eaten up, Bubba? Okay, you're done. Oh, go ask Uncle Milana if you can use the thermal. Okay, I'll say it. I think it's a brilliant decision for the elites to go to the NPFL because it's extra money for them to make. I think it's brilliant. I don't know if all of them are going to do it. I think they got to look at it on their schedule. I think that Patrick Walters doing it was. I think he's a genius. I texted him 2 days ago. I think he's a genius. I think it's a little weird that right now, if I look at the 80 anglers that are signed up for NPFL, Patrick Walters and Kyle Welcher aren't on the list right now. I still don't know why, and hopefully I can find out. I don't know how to turn the lights on out here. So maybe I'll see if there's a light switch somewhere. I'm going to take you guys with me and see if there's a light switch and keep this going just for a little bit longer. Actually, I'm going to go inside. Hold on. Stay with me. How do I turn on the lights out here?
There's a remote over there, the wire remote.
A wireless remote. Yeah, that I'm never going to find that shit.
There.
Will you turn it on for me?
No, no.
No, don't, yeah. Thank you. Okay, what else? Before the mosquitoes get me, what else do we want to talk about? Ask away. They've banned forward-facing sonar, and they didn't sign up. I think they will sign up at some point in time, but the list I have right now, Welcher and I forgot his name. That's how stupid I am. Welcher and Patrick Walters have not signed up. I think they probably will. The list of anglers that are going over to NPFL is getting bigger and better. I'm like I said in the one video, I'm a little worried that they only have 80 anglers right now. I'm a little worried about that. It almost doesn't make sense because I really did think. Well, I'll keep it. I'm going to tell you some things that I probably haven't shared. There were a lot of anglers that I talked to that weren't happy with the forward-facing sonar thing. They weren't happy with. I think NPFL has a great opportunity to boost themselves, but they need to boost their anglers first. They need a bit better platform than the fixed TV. They don't like when I talk about them because they just feel like all I do is say negative things. And I don't think I say all negative things, but I try to give constructive criticism where I see it. What they're doing now, I said they should have done 4 years ago, which is insane to think about. And some of their anglers just don't get any opportunity to promote their sponsors. If those anglers aren't able to promote their sponsors, then why are they fishing NPFL? And some of the guys are on NPFL because they just they think it's easy money. That's the truth. So I think NPFL just needs to. Jesus, the mosquitoes are crazy out here. I think NPFL just needs to do their best to try to get these anglers as much spotlight as they can. Hold on, I'm spraying myself with bug spray. I'm getting eaten up for y'all. I just want that to be known. They need to. Oh, I got it in my mouth. That's what she said. Just joking. They need to be able to promote themselves and do their best to make these anglers want to come fish with them. And until they do that and fix the platform, then I think they're in trouble. Good riddance to the anglers who cry about forward feeding. Yeah, I mean, those anglers aren't. There's 16 of them right off the bat that aren't doing it that I know of. There's so many. You're right, Stephen. There's so many free platforms to use, but you want to know what the problem is? Is they're just not using that. They're not using what's out there to do it. The Alabama Bass Trail has good coverage on YouTube. Should be easy for them. Yeah, they should use YouTube. You want to know why people don't use YouTube? The problem is that you get the numbers. You can see the numbers. Redbird Nation, how do you know all these different anglers? Did you work at Bass or FLW? Love the content. Thank you, Redbird. I, I I know them because I did a radio show for 12 or 13 or whatever many years before the switch. And doing the radio show, the goal was to get pro anglers and then other people who loved fishing, A-list celebrities to come on the radio show and talk about fishing and then promote their stuff. So because of that, I built these relationships with some amazing people and some amazing anglers that now when I need to know something, they come and tell me. Come up here, no mosquitoes. Yeah, it's ridiculous, the mosquitoes. Down here, we any type of water is just it's just a breeding station for them. It isn't hard to stream live on all platforms. Burning season. You're exactly right. You're exactly right. They could do this at any point in time. Like I said, the problem that you have with streaming on YouTube and all these other places is then your numbers are accountable. And if you only have 27 people watching your Facebook, and I'm just using this as an example, this is not exact numbers. You can't tell people that you're getting hundreds of thousands of people to watch your stream. That's why most of these places are done on their website. Even you can even find out that stuff on the website too. And I'm not trying to throw shade at NPFL, but there were many times when they would do a video or do something live, and there'd be nobody on watching it, and that stinks for you. Shoot, I I would you hold a camera in Hackney boat for free. Greg's one of the great persons of all time. I have the utmost respect for Greg. We don't talk very often, but we keep in somewhat contact. Steven said, Bassmaster small dose streams on YouTube. Yeah, they do a little bit, but the majority of their content is being viewed on their website and and hopefully FS1. And I've said this a lot lately because I had somebody within a major organization, and I mean the top of the organization, told me that viewership was key to how successful and how the industry was going to work. And and we sat, and he called me. I should say this. This person, I'll just tell you. Boyd called me in the middle of a swim meet, and it was a horrible time to call. Thomas was at. My son is a. If you don't know, my son is a super swimmer. My son swims like a fish. He's a freshman. He made it to regionals this year for two events, and on the A relay team for that. He's a state champion swimmer. He's unreal. So, and if you don't know, my life revolves around my family and my son. And so everything I try to do is to make sure that I can continue to make sure I'm at. I go to until this last 2 or 3 months. I went to every swim practice for 5 straight years. It's not an exaggeration. I might have missed a handful, but I went to every one because my son means so much to me. And I get very emotional talking to about him and how proud I am as a father and as a dad of what he's done. And he's just starting. He's not even hit puberty, and he beats a majority of the kids. There's some really fast kids, but he's an amazing swimmer. But Boyd called me on regionals, the day of regionals on a Saturday, in between one of Thomas's heats, and I told my wife, I said, I've got to answer this. And Boyd and I talked for probably 90 minutes, and then I said, I gotta go. And he's like, you know, let me watch Thomas. Let me, I want to know more about Thomas. And Boyd gets a lot of grief that he doesn't deserve. He does deserve some of it, but he gets a lot of grief that I don't think people realize the narrative that other people use to put him down. And I don't appreciate that. And I'm more than willing to stick up for him or for other friends at any time. So let's see. Thank you, Stephen. Half elites haven't hit puberty yet. Yeah. I will say there's some petty, childish bullshit that goes on drama in the elites. I I've said this. I don't think that Hayden. Hold on, Hayden. I want. I have. When this is over, Hayden, will you text me, please? I have a question about that place in Georgia, and I'm hoping you have a phone number for me if possible. Hayden and I have been Hayden and I have been fishing. Hayden's one of the greatest kids I've ever met. This kid can fish. He beats me every. I think he's beat me every time we've went fishing. Great kid. Let me look at that. Half leads, yep, haven't hit puberty. We're still going to see the same amount of drama next year as we did with the leads this year. The payment thing is gonna get worse. It is, and Uh, I'm not sure it's gonna get any better. And by the way, Hayden, I got to tell you, I love you because I always do every time we leave. I love you, dude. I hope your dad's doing well too. Do you know what Boyd is doing this coming year? I think he's fishing the invitationals. I have to be honest. I didn't ask. I had a list of questions uh, for Boyd that I needed answered, and he is brutally honest with me. Having said that, I do know that Boyd is a politician. So sometimes I ask a question and he circles around and doesn't answer the question for me. But I think I know Boyd catches a lot of grief, deservedly so in some cases. In some cases he doesn't. The cheating crap is BS. Wonder what happened to the FLW camera guy. So that story, there wasn't a lot of truth to that story, from what I understand. They did an investigation and found out that the FLW it wasn't an FLW camera person. That's what one of the questions I asked. Uh, I can't go into that one. I wish I could. I really, really wish I could. You want to? I'll text Boyd and ask if I can talk about it. I don't think he wants me to talk about it. There were a few things that we talked about that were between he and I, but uh, let's just the best way to put it is the investigation didn't show that that person was a cameraman for this year. That did not happen. And those anglers that said that are still saying they didn't say it. While beating the bush, answering directly, yeah, he doesn't answer things. When is your appearance on Bass After Dark? Ken is looking rather pale these days. So this is the God's honest truth. I don't know why I am not been asked to be on Bass After Dark. That is the God's honest question. That's the God's honest. At this point in time, I wouldn't do it. I am slightly offended that he has not asked me to be on there. Of all the people and all of the, you know, all the things that I can kind of say and help, I'm slightly offended that he hasn't done that. So I don't know. Let me look. Just wanted to thank you for all your videos. Thank you. Thanks, Paul. I really do appreciate it. Yeah, I was wondering when we were gonna see him back. I'm not. I probably won't. I am old. I should say that. Uh, I'm 52 years old. I don't think I've ever. I don't know if there's a video that says I'm 52. I'm 52 years old. I had to volunteer last week at Thomas's swimming Christmas tree thing. I'm not joking. I hammered in 50 or 60 or 70 trees in the stands, and this is no joke. This is a week later. I can't make a fist yet without it hurting my wrist. I am freaking old, and it is. And getting back to Bass After, I think it's a little long. That's the truth. And some of the topics are just not for me. It's hard for me to be on, and maybe I don't want to have to stick up for Ken. Maybe it's hard for me to be on because I'm not a pro. And he wants professional people on there giving their opinion and that kind of stuff. Now, if they're talking about something that's drama oriented or they need an opinion, maybe I'm the right person for it. I will say that I wouldn't want to do something to hurt Ken. So I don't know. Blocking out 3 hours is tough. Steven, I wouldn't know you were 60 at all. Once you hit 40, the body starts falling apart. It does. It's sad. It's the things, the little things. As someone who played basketball and baseball into college, and my son now sprouting like something else, it's tough. Uh, some of the basketball stuff is tough. He has Ben Milken on there, uh, so he does. He does. Yeah, Ben's a pro. I think Ben is a pro. What area, not Headwaters, is best chance to catch a 10 pounder on Christmas to New Year's? I get to go down there to catch a trophy. Paul 71. Okay, Redbird Nation. There's a place. I did a little thing. I did a video about 4 or 5 places to go fishing in. There's one near Tampa. Orange Lake, I think it might be called. Never seen. There's more bass over. Well, it's the second place that has the most bass shocked. There's more bass shocked over 10 pounds in Lake Apopka, but that is really, really hard to fish. I fished with Brandon Card out there for 3 or 4 straight days, and it was miserable hard. And I'm talking miserable hard. And I think Brandon Card's a great angler. It's gotten better, but the problem with, I think Orange Lake is probably, and Hayden says it, Orange Lake is stacked with some big fish. Now, you're not going to catch a ton of fish there, but you're going to have some absolutely ridiculous. Are we having dinner?
Yeah, very soon.
Okay. I have just a. I just have how many minutes? 20. Oh, geez, that's a long time. I have just a. Did you bring the thermal out by any chance?
Is it some?
Thomas wanted to use the thermal.
Okay.
We have a thermal scope, and Thomas does it. Headwaters is good. Stick Marsh is good. I would stay away from the big places. I would say I would not go to Toho or Harris Chain or any of those places. Go to the smaller places, and you'll probably do. You're not going to catch a ton of fish, but when you hook into one, you're hooking into a stud. There's also oh my gosh, there's one other place that Lunker Louie fishes all the time. I don't know the name of it, and he catches. Lunker Louie has 100 bass over 10 pounds. Hayden's got more 10-pound bass than I do, I would imagine. So if Hayden says that's where to go, I'd go there. Steve, whatever happened to the Giants in Cali? You don't hear about it anymore. I think that you know what happens is once you start getting a place gets really successful for having big fish, like OHIV, people stop talking about it because they get so much pressure at those places because of it that the locals literally stop talking about it, and that has a huge influence. I'm totally fine with a few bites. Just want the chance of a daggone big. That's a good place. If Hayden says it, I'd believe Hayden before me, and Hayden's caught more 10-pound fish than me. I'm 100% sure of that. Hayden and I have fished a million times. Recently got a 10-2 on a bed about 2 weeks ago. That was random cold snap. Yeah, if you're not fishing next month or at the beginning of January, you'll miss the spawn. I know Okeechobee started spawning at the end of this month. People aren't going to tell you that. There were big bass on beds at the end of November. Have you done a video on Gill and Robertson's win yet? I hope it. I have not done one. I wanted to do one. You want to know what the craziest thing about Robertson? Marty Robinson's son. I met Marty Robinson's son when he made All-American 7, 8 years ago when he was on stage as a college fishing. Oh, I think Hayden might have been there in Tulsa, and one of the nicest young men I've ever met. And I don't know Marty too well. I mean, we see each other and say hello and give a hug and that kind of stuff. And I've interviewed him maybe once or twice, but his son was. You could tell. There's certain times you meet people and you go, yeah, that dude's gonna fish. Oopsie. That dude can fish. You can just see it in their eyes. He was one of them. I feel that same way about Easton Fothergill. And I feel that same way about, oh, I don't know his name, that left the BPT and now qualified for the elites, that did so well. And there's a few guys, just you can see, yeah, it was in Tulsa. Hayden was with me at the Classic. That was the time that Boudreaux got drunk and decided he was going to get naked and walk home from Tulsa to Orlando. We have video of that, don't we, Hayden? I think Hayden still has it on his phone. But um, yeah, that's where I would go. Okay, any more questions before we? Do you guys want me to do more of these? I mean, we didn't have a lot of people on here, but I don't mind answering almost anything that you guys want to ask, or if you want to know more about me, or if you want to know what's going on, or who I'm talking to. Um, I have the video of Boudreaux. That's awesome. I don't mind doing these. I just feel a little. It's a little uncomfortable. I mean, I've said it a million times. It's uncomfortable. What's up, Jeff? Oh, he's catching specks on Lake Monroe. Of course he is. There's another dude that can fish. That guy can. Jeff Hammer can fish. Go check out his channel. He does some mosquito lagoon fishing stuff that is really good. Thanks for local knowledge, and I'm new to the area. Yeah, Brian. I say this: if you guys need my help, I'm going to tell you it. Email me. I'll give you my phone number. Just don't share the phone number. I don't mind sharing it. If I can help you guys, you can text me. I had somebody on here text me earlier. Um, yeah, I tried. I'm down here in West Palm Beach, and it was Sonia was like, "Oh, you can use my computer. You can use my computer." And then I was like, "I don't know if the computer is going to work for this." So that's why I did it on here. I'll try to put out something more. I actually thought about doing more interviews again. I'm not sure if those will be live. I want them to be live so that you guys can ask questions to the people that I have on. The problem is I don't want to be in that same category of all these people who do podcasts. No shots at the podcasters, because people call my thing a podcast. I consider my stuff a vlog more than a podcast, but everybody gets the same people on over and over and over. And if I'm doing it, the truth is I'm going to add saltwater people. I'm going to have Chris Pratt back on. I'm going to have Andy Mills, or I'm going to have you know, pro sports people, Paul George and Randy Moss, that I've talked to in the past. And yeah, I'll change this thing next time for Sir Stephen, and talk about their fishing experiences. It won't just be about pros, but it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to coordinate it. And not that I mind. I'm not one to shy away from hard work at all, but I want to make sure it's fun for everybody, because what's good about this. Okay, I'll come in. What's good about this is that I like just interacting with you guys and going through what's going on, or what's happening in my life, or what's happening in the industry. So that's why I want to do more of this. Or you want to, like I said, email me. My email is ffrsteve@gmail.com. ffrsteve@gmail.com. You can email me, say, hey, I'd like to talk to you. I'll send you my phone number. Just don't share it. Can Wheeler beat KVD if he doesn't have an FFS? No. If Jacob sees that, he's going to be pissed off as hell. I'll send that clip to Kevin, though. I think they're both unbelievable anglers. I think at some point in time, Jacob will probably be the GOAT. I think so. It'll be fun to see how he coordinates this year. It's good to have the personal vlogs versus the pods. It's great. Thank you. Wheeler can beat anyone. Wheeler's an amazing person. Hey, Big Jim, I have to tell you, speaking to Jacob Wheeler one-on-one for a couple hours, I've only had one other experience where I left the conversation and thought to myself, I know nothing about fishing. It happened with Aaron Martins years ago. We spent 3.5 hours, and after talking to Aaron, my mind was blown, and I'm not joking, blown. Jacob is the same way. I'm joking. I think Jacob's the greatest angler. I think he's the best on the planet right now. I think Kevin Van Dam is just, having the relationship with Kevin is one that I really admire having. Yeah. Okay. I'll be in there in a second. So anyway, yeah, that was me joking. So Wheeler's the greatest of all time. So anyway, it's time to eat. We have fresh pasta, lobster tails, backstrap, pig, bolognese. We're pigging out tonight, and no turkey, thank goodness. I really hope you guys had a good time. I really appreciate you guys. I don't say it enough. I try to make sure I say it all the time. Thank you for being part of the team. And let's do this again soon, and we'll flip it so it's a lot better. But maybe we'll do it at my house, so I don't have to sit outside, because it's dark now. I mean, I don't. It's dark now. I hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving. I appreciate each and every one of you. Like I said, you want to email me? Email me. I'll send you my phone number. You can just talk to me direct. Thank you. Cheers. Tight lines. Get your fish on. Thanks, guys.